My name is Sharon Middlebrook Mena. Currently, I live in Bryan, Texas, but my heart is in my hometown. I grew up in a small town just north of Waco. The name of the town is West, and I often have to clarify it as West, Texas. Among residents, it is sometimes affectionately called the comma. West is known for one of two things. Number one, Czech culture, and especially the Czech pastries, kolaches. And two, the fertilizer plant explosion in 2013, both of which have made a lasting impact. I don't know the exact percentage, but I do know that a large part of the population of West share a Czech heritage. Though not Czech myself, my children are Czech from their father. Our family participated in Westfest, an annual Czech festival, the entire time we lived in West. I was an associate director for several years. A popular aspect of the festival and Czech heritage is promoting the Czech heritage and culture by wearing one of the many Czech costumes. In 2008, I began working on an authentic costume for my daughter. Since then, I have made several costumes with elaborate handmade embroidery that take well over 2,500 hours to produce. I began a Czech costumes blog over 10 years ago where I continue to receive emails from all over the world. A little known fact that if you Google Czech costume images, chances are you will get a picture of me or me with my daughter as one of the top images on Google. Two of the costumes I made were featured in an online issue of Texas Monthly last year. West is also known as a small town that was devastated by a fertilizer plant explosion on April 17, 2013. I lived just outside of West at the time of the explosion. The blast shook my house, and I stepped out my front door in time to see the large plume of smoke over the small town. Like so many others, I rushed into town to check on my sister's family, who lived about a block from the plant, and my sister-in-law, who was in the rest home at the time. I got to the scene so fast that the roadblocks were not even in place yet. My sister's home was destroyed, but they were already gone when I arrived. The town's rest home was also destroyed, and as I searched for my sister-in-law, I helped with recovery efforts, evacuating residents to a parking lot and then down the street to the high school football field. That evening, I was calling my children to let them know I was okay and reporting what I was seeing. Unknown to me, my son was tweeting out my reports. His tweets were some of the only accounts from on scene, and they drew national media attention. Hours later, I was interviewed by George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America. And thankfully, my sister-in-law was not injured too badly, and we gave an exclusive interview to Piers Morgan on CNN the following day. I had to decline interview requests from Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly due to the agreement with CNN. Professionally, I have worked in education for over 25 years. When my 3 children were all in school, I began work as a substitute teacher until I was hired as an elementary school secretary. In 1995, I was promoted to the payroll clerk. I was hired as an elementary school secretary in 1995 and was promoted to the payroll clerk in 2001. But I missed the activity of the campus, and I accepted a position as high school secretary the next year. I enjoyed working at the school district when my children were in school, but about the time my youngest was looking at colleges, I accepted a position as the executive assistant to the president of a community college. I felt very blessed. My husband had a good job as a computer systems analyst. Our children were all grown. 2 were married, and our youngest was doing well in college. However, in 2008, my life was derailed when my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic colon cancer. We had been high school sweethearts and were married 2 weeks after graduating high school. I had worked to put him through college before starting our family. We had been married for 30 years at the time of his death in 2010. While my husband was ill with multiple rounds of chemo, kidney failure, and many hospital stays, I had a narrow focus on his well-being. I neglected my own health, suffered a huge weight gain, high blood pressure, and heart problems. After I lost him, I had to learn to turn that care that I had poured out on him to taking care of myself for my children and grandchildren's sake. I began a regimen of exercise and healthy diet that greatly improved my physical health. Also during that time, I realized, for the first time in my life, I was solely responsible for myself, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. That realization has left me with a drive to constantly be improving. In 2013, I remarried, moved to Bryan, Texas, and secured a job at Texas A&M University. I am constantly looking for ways that I can learn and bring added value to any position I am fortunate to hold. I take advantage of the many professional development opportunities afforded me at a large institution, and am very active in local, state, and national professional associations in my field. Currently, I serve as president-elect of the State Association and on the executive board of the National Association. I earned my associate's degree in 2016 and will graduate with a Bachelor's of Applied Arts and Science in Organizational Development in December. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and my efforts have contributed greatly to my career, earning me multiple promotions and doubling my salary in 4 years. For many years, I suffered from a generational way of thinking that many who work in the support role feel. I'm just a secretary. However, our culture and profession has changed dramatically in the last few decades. The combination of the change in culture, profession, and my education has given me the drive and confidence to realize that the only boundaries I face are self-imposed. When I started at Texas A&M Commerce in 2018, I was pursuing a bachelor's degree in office administration. But earlier this year, I realized that degree would not add anything to my resume and portfolio. I love my current job, and I never hope to change jobs. However, as I learned in 2010, life happens. Circumstances change, and as such, I need to always prepare for the job that I don't know I need. To that end, I began to look at the other degree programs, and I discovered the Organizational Leadership Program. Timing is everything. I had just been elected president-elect for the State Professional Association, and I felt this degree would not only prepare me for the role as president, it would add another layer to my resume in the event I ever did have to change positions. I have read several leadership books over the last few years, but the courses I completed over the last few months have given me a depth of information that I feel has given me a broader view of leadership. Leadership is more than an elected position. It is an inner vision translated to a drive for an organization that can be felt by the followers. The courses have instilled in me the need for information gathering, referred to as environmental scanning, that can be used to forecast future trends. A leader must have a broad view and avoid getting bogged down in the weeds. As I said, timing is everything, and the courses and projects aligned nicely with my preparation for a leadership role in my career and professional association. One class that stood out is the data decision-making class. I was familiar with assessment. After all, I've worked in education for many years. I have often said that when it comes to education, if it's not assessed, it's not happening. The concepts of the class were practical and something I wanted to try. My final project was to look at key performance indicators to determine a reason for the declining membership of my professional association and to identify a course of action to reverse the trend. I look forward to hopefully putting this in place in the near future. I have enjoyed the competency-based organizational leadership program. The biggest challenges to a mature learner, who in most cases is better disciplined than the traditional student, is that Many instructors hold back assignments and quizzes and open them at their predetermined date during the semester. I found during the traditional semesters this left me with gaps of dead time during the semester, and I would have much preferred to have the opportunity to work at my own pace, finishing the class much sooner. The competency-based program has been exactly what I needed. I have been able to finish 4 classes during the 7-week term, saving me lots of time and money. Which brings me to my next challenge, the cost of college. As someone who does not qualify for financial aid, the cost of college is prohibitive. I am not sure I would have completed my degree had I not discovered this program. I have shared the program with several colleagues, one of which is registered to start the next semester. I began writing a few years ago, at first just a few articles for the state and national publications of my professional associations. That experience has been very helpful with my coursework. I do not consider myself a writer, but I have found that it is much easier when I am familiar with the topic. When I prepare for the papers in class, I read as much as I can on the topic from a variety of sources. That practice has been very helpful. I find it is also effective when the instructors can provide several prompts for the papers as well as the topic. The prompts are usually questions that must be answered in the paper. At times, I have gotten stuck, and I will email the instructor. The instructors I have had have been so supportive and have always given me the tip that I needed that got me back on track. Thank you.